Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video, we are looking at another XFCE based distro, and today's distro is Peppermint OS. Now, I was asked to review this by one of the viewers. Now, Peppermint OS is based on Debian, and as you can see, it uses the XFCE desktop environment, and the idea is it's lightweight. And it is lightweight, it runs about 600-700 megabytes. It's pretty good. So the installer is the Ubiquity installer, and it's a straightforward affair of choosing your language, where you are in the world, choosing your keyboard layout, and then choosing where you want to install Peppermint OS. Now, it's not the best installer in the world, but it does the job, and you can see I've got Peppermint OS installed. So here we are, first boot. First thing to note is the wallpaper, really nice. I do like that wallpaper. And you've got this welcome screen, and it just says what is Peppermint OS, suggested packages and web browsers, pep docs, and build log. So let's go into the suggested packages. So you can enable the Flatpak system, which I've done automatically. I actually did it via the command prompt. I didn't do it through here. And you've got suggested browsers. Now, it's worth noting that if you go into the browsers, LibreWolf is installed by default, so I'm quite happy to leave that as is, because that's a decent enough piece of software for browsing the web. So other things, you've got document viewers, KeyPass, a media player. Now, I installed VLC via the command line. You can enable snaps if you want to enable snaps, and you can enable the GNOME software store. So at the moment, if you want to install software, all you've got is Synaptic. So if you want the GNOME software store, you can install that here. So that's a nice little tool, but it's hidden away in the welcome screen. I wonder how you run that application without the... I wonder if there's a suggested packages option from the menu. There is, so you can just type suggested from the menu and that'll bring this up. That's fairly limited into what it's offering you. It could offer a bit more, but the fact that it's giving you the GNOME software store, Flatpak, and Snap gets you most of the way you need to go. So actually, let's install the GNOME software like that. It's going to ask for your password. The one thing that keeps tripping me up is during the install, it wouldn't let me use my normal password that I use for demoing distributions because it failed the dictionary test, essentially. This isn't the password I use on my own computer. This is a password I just use for review and distributions. And now every time I run the sudo command, I end up typing the wrong password. But now I've done that, hopefully that should be it. It seems to have installed something, and there is the GNOME software store, and it's refreshing the data. If we go here and go to software repositories, you can see it's got Debian, Trixie, and LibreWolf. Has it got the Flatpak enabled in here? It doesn't have Flatpak enabled in here. So we'll restart the computer and see if it pops up with the Flatpaks in the GNOME after that. So I've rebooted the computer, and if I go into software, and I search for Chrome, you see it's not there, and if I go into repositories, it's not showing up there either. So we can get around this. If we go into Synaptic, I'm going to try this without going into the terminal, so the everyday Linux user way. And what we're going to do is we're going to search for Flatpak. And what we want is this here, which is the GNOME software plugin. So we're going to mark that for installation. And we're going to click apply. Should be that. You need to restart to use the new plugins, so we're going to restart. If we go into here now, hopefully see Flatpaks. It's still not showing it. So what we're going to do is reboot again. Hopefully this will work. If we go into software again, we've just rebooted for the second time. And it's still not showing Flatpak as an option. So despite having the Flatpak system on, it doesn't have it as an option. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it the terminal route. Sudo apt install Flatpak. It's already installed. Add in the repo. And we'll reboot again. So back again, go into software, go into repositories, FlatHub's now enabled. So if I search for Chrome now, always a good test whether Flatpak's working is if Chrome's available, and it is. So now you can install whatever software you want that's in the FlatHub repository. So if you want Spotify or something like that, then it's available. And there's a load of good apps that are Flatpak native, things like OBS Studio, Kdenlive. They're much better off the Flatpak than they are off Debian packages. So that's why I'm talking about Flatpaks here. So what's disappointed here is that yes, you can install the GNOME software store, and presumably Flatpak, when you turn it on, does something, but it doesn't make it possible to then use Flatpak from within the software store. So if this is for new users to Linux, then it's not very user friendly in that sense. I ended up going into the terminal and typing in commands there. So we're going to disable the auto start now, and we're going to close this down. Let's look at the hardware situation. So let's look at Wi-Fi first. If we go down to here, you can see available networks, Wi-Fi drivers are available, and we're going to go for Bluetooth mode.
Bluetooth mode.
Like that, and we're going to see if Bluetooth's available. And Bluetooth isn't installed, so that's a little bit disappointing as well. So let's look at printers. Printer is available and set up by default, which is good. So out of 3 devices that I normally try, 2 of them working, 1's not there. How are you going to get Bluetooth working? Well, I would go into Synaptic. And we can search for Bluetooth. And you see Blues is already installed. And the firmware is installed, but we haven't got the graphical client Blueman installed. So that's what we're going to do, is install Blueman. Click apply. We'll close that and we'll run Blueman.
Bluetooth mode.
And we'll click search. And it's found my speaker, so if I double click here.
Connecting.
And that connected fine.
Disconnected. So
now that's all the hardware set up. We can now look at the software that's installed by default with Peppermint. So if I go to the menu and accessories, we've got general accessories that you get with XFCE. There's nothing special in here. You've got a file manager, which is Tuner or Thuna, depending on how you like to say it, a screenshot tool. You've got mouse pad, which is a text editor. Under graphics, we've got a document scanner. Under internet, LibreWolf. I don't know what Kumo is. SSB launcher. So Kumo is a site-specific browser. So if I give the site a name, so maybe we'll go for YouTube, and you can put it under the menu location. So we can put it under, we'll put it under internet, enter the URL, Set the icon. We'll click save there. And under here, you've now got YouTube, and we can click run. And you can see it runs YouTube as if it's a standard application within Peppermint OS. Not sure how you close it now. You can close up here. So if you hover up to the top, it just brings the menu bar back. So that is a tool unique, I believe, to Peppermint. You can, Linux Mint has something called web apps, which does a very similar thing. So now you can see under internet, I've got YouTube, so I can now go to YouTube whenever I want just by clicking there, and it goes straight to my site. But it doesn't seem to remember that I was there before. But that's because LibreWolf is the browser that it's using, and LibreWolf by default is a secure browser, so it's always going to forget. So that's why that's happening. Under multimedia, I installed Easy Effects. It's good for setting up your mic. OBS Studio I installed, VLC Media Player I installed. So actually all you got in there was volume control. Under other, we've got system information. And then we've got settings. So you've got the suggested. I'm not sure what daily is. So it's a way of managing your updates within your system. Now, if you're using GNOME software, then you don't need this tool really, because GNOME software is going to do most of it for you anyway. So that really is all there is to the software within Peppermint OS. If we right click, we go to desktop settings, we'll have a look at the wallpapers. And it seems to have defaulted to desktop base, which isn't what we want. We'll go to other, user share. Right, so images within Linux can either be in user share backgrounds. So interestingly, there's this thing here called Visha Porn, which had me worried at first, but if I click that, you can see it's our Fox image. And then if you go into XFCE, you've got other images available, the standard XFCE ones, again with the Fox one if you want it. And then we've got other folders within user share. So we should have a wallpapers folder here, and we can click open there. Nothing in there. I think you have to go down into each one. So we can go into home world, like that, and it gives you more Debian based ones, so you can pick anything you like from there. Now Peppermint has the taskbar where I want it, the panel at the bottom with the system tray. The thing I don't like particularly is the icon set it's used. It's very Apple-esque, but you can change the appearance. And there's various themes available, and you can add in your own ones. I've got guides showing how to do that. But that is Peppermint OS. Essentially, you've got Debian with a XFCE desktop and a bit of theming over the top and a nice background wallpaper. You got a few little tools on top. The suggested apps. It's a good idea, but if you're going to enable GNOME software and you're going to enable Flatpak, then make sure that when you enable the Flatpak, it works with GNOME software. Otherwise, it defies the point of enabling it in the first place. Would I recommend Peppermint OS to users? I'm not sure about that. There are other distributions. I'm not sure where it fits, to be honest with you, in terms of Linux. Why not just install Debian? You'd get just as far installing base Debian and adding your own stuff in as you would installing Peppermint. I guess it gets you like 5% further on than where you were if you installed Debian. There are other Debian based distros like Q4 OS, KDE Neon. There's other XFCE based ones that work better. MX Linux, for instance, that get you a lot further, a lot quicker with better tooling. So Peppermint's been around a really long time, and it's never really changed all that much. It is basically Debian with XFCE with a few tools on top. So it's not pretending to be something that it isn't. It does what it proposes to do, but it doesn't do all that much. And that is the end of the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.